Notice the changes in your body. If there's any tightness anywhere, go ahead and move it around and release it and let it go. And know that your feet ground you to the earth, to Mother Earth, and to the center of the earth. And open up the seventh chakra at the top of your head to be open to what we're going to receive today. And today's word is compassion. If you choose to focus on that word to see what comes up, otherwise go back to your I am. It is in these moments of silence that we come to know that we are one with the divine, one with each other. And so we open our hearts and our minds to receive this morning, to receive whatever it is that Spirit is wishing to express in, as, and through us. And we know indeed that we are divinely guided, and our hearts and minds are filled with compassion, compassion for each other and even those we do not know who may reach out and say today, I need you, I need help. And so we just come to that place of a willingness to assist and to once again express our kindness and compassion. And so I just release this knowing that it is already completed and done in the mind of God. And for this I am grateful. And so it is. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Crystal, why don't you start us with our definition this morning?
Compassion, a characteristic of love and mercy, prompted by an understanding heart. A compassionate mind sees the error, but does not condemn.
Uh-huh. Peggy, how about the quote this morning?
Sympathy and compassion are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other.
Michael, the Bible?
Psalm 145:8. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger, and great mercy.
Something we should all be, slow to anger. This morning's reading is Tit Nhat Hanh from Be Free Where You Are. Understanding, I got a frog in my throat. I'm sorry this morning. Understanding makes compassion possible. Understanding is the substance out of which we fabricate compassion. What kind of understanding am I talking about? It is the understanding that the other person suffers too. When we suffer, we tend to believe that we are the victims of other people, that we are the only ones who suffer. That is not true. The other person also suffers. He has his difficulties, his fears, and his worries too. If we could only see the pain within him, he would begin to understand him. Once understanding is present, compassion becomes possible. Do we have enough time to look into the condition of the other person? The other person may be an inmate like us or a guard. If we look, we can see that there is a lot of suffering within him. Maybe he does not know how to handle his suffering. Maybe he allows his suffering to grow because he does not know how to handle it. And this makes him and other people around him suffer. So with this kind of awareness or mindfulness, you begin to understand, and understanding will give the rise to your compassion. With compassion in you, you will suffer much less, and you will be motivated by a desire to do something or not do something so that the other person suffers less. Your way of looking or smiling at him may help him suffer less and give him faith and compassion. I would describe my practice as the practice of cultivating compassion, but I know that compassion is not possible without understanding, and understanding is possible only if you have time to look deeply. Meditation means to look deeply in order to understand. In the monastery where I live, we have plenty of time to do the work of looking deeply. In a correctional house, there is always plenty of time and opportunity to practice looking deeply. It is a very good environment to practice looking deeply so that compassion can grow as a liberating factor. I think that if 1 or 10 or 20 of you practice compassionate looking, you can transform this place in no time at all. You can bring paradise right here. For me, paradise is a place where there is compassion. When there is compassion in your heart, you need only to breathe in and out and look deeply, and understanding will come. You will understand yourself and become compassionate toward yourself. You will know how to handle your suffering and take care of yourself. Then you will be able to help another person do the same, and compassion will grow between you. Thus, you become a Buddha, a Bodhisattva, who brings compassion into his environment and transforms hell into paradise. The kingdom of God is now or never. This is very true. It could be that you have more opportunities to practice than many of us. What do you think? So our affirmation today is, it is easy for me to express compassion for others and myself. And our journaling begins with, I experience or experienced compassion.
Eileen, what was the book you read from?
Be free where you are. Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll send out the list on Friday. All righty, bring it to a close. And who has something they might like to share this morning?
I'll go. That was a really good one. That was, I'm not going to read what I wrote because it's kind of rambling, but as you said yesterday, I've gone through a lot of change and growth, and I'm still piecing it all together. But what I noticed is that I experience compassion most from other people when I allow myself to be vulnerable. And that in turn shows me how compassionate people are. And usually I stop and think, boy, I hope that I can be that compassionate when someone is in front of me and needs it. And now I'm realizing that my vulnerability is providing the compassion that I have for other people and for myself. It's in the vulnerability that comes.
Yep. Vulnerability is a huge thing, Amy.
Whew, you're telling me. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
And when we resist that vulnerability, we shut ourselves off from the rest of the world and from those who are willing to reach out and help us.
Yeah.
So trust me, learned it the hard way, but it's, because vulnerability is a hard thing, because that means trusting. So
Yeah.
trusting other people to see who we are and where we are.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Who else would like to share this morning? Sandy? You got to unmute, darling.
Trying to write down what you said because it sounded so profound about when we resist our vulnerability, we shut off the people who want to help us. I love that.
Yeah.
So what I wrote was, I experience compassion easily and often. Yes, I express this compassion more freely for others than myself. I often experience people who are suffering around some issue in their life. I cannot fix whatever it is. I can only love and feel and be compassionate. Compassion does not mean I choose to take on their hurt and suffer with them or for them. Compassion arises from a deep listening with an open heart. I follow up my compassion with affirmative prayer and remember whatever goes on in human life is impermanent and will shift to something else. Compassion is action. It's something I experience and allow the other person to grow through their state of mind into a greater state of peace. Self-compassion is a gift we give ourselves when we fire the judge within us and replace it with recognition of a loving presence that supports us no matter what.
I love that, firing the judge, Sandy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's huge.
Out
to
of here.
Yeah, I love that statement. That's a great way of putting it. We've got plenty of time this morning, so Peggy, go ahead.
I experience compassion easily when the target is my dog, a loved one, or even a stranger who is suffering, but in a way that does not interfere with my life. When their suffering gets in my way, compassion is more difficult. I'd like for the person to just disappear or leave the sphere where they influence me. To acquire compassion in these cases, I must work at it. Compassion is the focus of my life right now. Sheltering in place, like being in a monastery or a prison, gives me the time and space to do this. I begin each morning with Tonglen for self, then for others. Breathing in, receiving the suffering, then allowing it to transform in the depths of my heart, and breathing out, giving love, light, mercy, and compassion. Saying the Sufi wazifa, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, mercy and compassion. I follow this with Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian healing practice. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Finding our mutual point of suffering, I experience oneness and compassion with the other.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's huge.
This is Spring. I'd like to say something.
All right, Spring, go ahead.
Ditto to everything everyone said. My great awareness was that inside the word compassion is compass, and I am allowed to be compassionate to others. I have that opportunity really to understand their pain when I recognize my own compassion for myself, and somehow it has to start from inside. And everybody has touched on the vulnerability that you feel and the resistance that might happen when it interferes with my own world. But it's like, if I think of compassion as understanding my own moral compass in the moment, then that moral compass can guide me, to look deeply first at my own feelings in the moment, and then as I practice more, actually understanding someone else's without judgment, without feeling interfered. And the last statements that I think it was Vicki said, that the Hawaiian way of doing forgiveness, it just really hit a deep chord, and I'd like her to repeat it if she could.
Okay, it's called Ho'oponopono, and you repeat these 4 phrases, contemplating them. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
And Spring,
Thank you.
Spring, there is a book written about that. It's on my bookshelf now. If you're interested in finding out about it in greater depth, I'll try and pull it out the bookshelf and email you and let you know what the name of the book is.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. More than welcome. Who hasn't prayed us out yet? Who hasn't prayed us out yet? Terry? Are you raising your hand?
I'm fighting with my dog, but I will be happy to pray us out.
Does your dog want to pray us out?
Yeah,
She wants my chin. She's in my lap and she's
where's your compassion
hot.
for that dog? There she is.
What a dog.
Go ahead, Terry. Don't forget, don't forget your practice today, or did I didn't put a practice down for today, I see. I goofed again. All right, here's your assignment. Find someone you can be compassionate with today. And just observe yourself in that. Find someone that you can be compassionate with. I gotta correct that. All righty, go ahead, Terry. Thank you.
And so as we come together in this moment, there's only God. There's God in each of our lives, as each of us, in each and every moment. And as we release any judgment, any doubt, and allow our vulnerability to take over, compassion flows through us, in us, and around us. We see the world in a new way, in a beautiful, loving, and compassionate way, to allow others to be themselves and trust that Spirit is acting in each life, in each and every moment. And I am so grateful for this as we go into this day. And I am thankful and release this. And together we say, and so it is.
It was a beautiful
Great day, everybody.
Terry, that was a
Thank you so
beautiful
much.
prayer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.